and welcome back to another tutorial. This one is all about skills. So we're making some cute little cupcake toppers with some nice little flowers on them and some metallic accents and so on. But the point of the tutorial is that you will learn how to paint fondant, how to marble fondant, how to add speckles and do various different other things like that. So for all that, I've created a set of cupcake toppers. You can of course use those skills for any of your cake decorating or indeed marbling fondant to cover a whole cake. I hope you enjoy it. Right, so yeah, this was just, so tonight was, I don't know, January blues, it's just the mood I was in yesterday. An opportunity to play with colours and the metallics and stuff again. We have got some plain ones that have just been flicked, some that I marbled, which is these ones. These ones I painted and I think they look really cool for having that sort of liney, watercolory thing on them. And then these ones, which are also marbled but bonus marbled, they were what happened to the fondant when I mushed it up after having painted it with these ones. So I'll show you guys all of that because like it's fun basically. And then the little flowers on here are my always favourite Blossom Sugar Art cutters, like so. We have two sets, which is the hydrangea and the petunia. They're fantastic and I use them for tons and tons and tons of things. So you will find those on the website if you don't already have them, because they really are just the most useful things in the world. So the first thing we want is to mix up some navy fondant. I do have some left over from earlier, so I'm not going to mix up too much. I'll just do enough to show you. And for some reason this bit's really soggy. So I've used, of course, our navy blue, which is one of the newer colours. Right, so I've popped some colour in there. Everyone always asks, how do I not get it all over my hands? It's because put the colour in the middle and you see it's like a longish blob, and then you just fold it in on itself and keep folding it in on itself, so that by the time the colour reaches the outside, it's already smushed into the icing enough that it's not like, it's not the raw colour. Right, I'm just going to pop a little bit more in there. Oh, and Tina says her living room is navy. It is, it's a really nice colour. There we go. So you can see we can get a nice deep shade, which actually, that's now really warm. So I'll mix it with some of my cold stuff and that'll be good to go. And I've got it stuck all over my hands. Right, so I have that and I've got some white as well. Yes, they do. So this is just fondant. This, as it happens, was some of the cake decorating company's, what's name? The sugar paste, I should be able to remember that. And yeah, it's just regular sugar paste fondant. I'm using that because it's what I had in the cupboard, basically. So yeah, this is just fondant. Right. Two sausages, as you can see, of vaguely equal length, give or take. And I'm just going to give them a little twist, fold them together like that, and then give them a smush, basically. Your marbled effect comes from the two colours getting intertwined, right? So the amount that you mix it will affect the amount of marbling that you get. I'm just going to grab a big rolling pin or we will be here forever and ever. And someone always sends me a Facebook message during the middle of this and then I can't. Did that just happen to you too? Yeah. Right. So look, can you see what lovely patterns you get? And marbling fondant sugar paste is exactly like real marble, that you never know what you're going to get. And it is always worth, see, look, it's always worth checking the other side. That, it's nice, but it's quite blendy, right? But if we flip it over, this is going to be way nicer, because think, for this we're after cupcake toppers, right? So wherever this is going to make a horrible noise because there's other things in it. That's the size of space. So straight away I can see that cutting there is going to make a nice shape, because we'll have that nice big blue bit and the swirl and so on. So it's always worth checking both sides. Chris, love.
Good.
Could you mute that on my phone so that it stops popping up? Thank you. I'm just going to turn that over and pop some corn flour on it, just so it doesn't stick, because there's nothing worse than cutting out a perfect cupcake topper and then you can't pick it up. So this is the back, and I'm just going to have a go with the corn flour so it's not sticky. Like I said, I by far prefer this side, and that is still a little bit thick, so I'm just going to roll a bit more. See, look, and there's some spots in there that have got some really, really, really lovely colour. So that's not sticking too much. Pop it there, and then like I said, the trick is to just pick where you cut. So I'm going to go for that bit because that has got a really interesting bit of colour to it. So let's see if I can pick it up without squashing it, more or less. And what I tend to do is have a bit of greaseproof paper by that I can just shove them onto, just because they won't stick to that and then they'll be flat. And then I reckon that one there, because then I'm catching again a nice bit of blue, a nice bit of white. We've got that little blue at the bottom as well. You see, and you can just sort of go round and pick the spots you like. Now, I know that one of the things I'm going to do is pick up some of the veining with some, is that showing up the gold there? So I want something that's making a nice pattern of lines so that I've got something to pick up with the with my gold. Oh, that one came up. See, look, that one's really nice. So that is how you do that. You can always check the other side as well, because you never know. See, I'm not so fond of this, because where it's mixed that bit more, you just kind of got medium blue instead of the dark and the white. So I definitely like how it looks on the other side. This is just you just want a cutter that will fit the top of cupcakes. This one used to have a size on it, but it's that old it doesn't anymore. It's from a set, they're just cookie cutters. I bought it in John Lewis, which is like a department store over here, a million years ago. So I think it is about, hang on, I always have the ruler handy. It's about 6 centimetres across, but whatever fits the top of the cakes or cupcakes that you're doing. Right, I'm going to do one more there just in case, and then that is that. Now you can always fold it back up and roll it out again and see what other patterns you may or may not get appearing in it. So actually our other side now, having done that, is looking more interesting. So I would probably, for example, go for that bit there. But you get the idea. It's quite a fun thing to do because they always come out differently every time you do it. So yes, those are our marbled ones, which, as you can see, very easy. You can do it with any colour. And it is good fun to do. So I'm going to pop those off to one side, and then I will show you. I should have done these ones first because it's with the white. The rest of it doesn't matter if it gets coloured. Right. So this time I'm just going to roll out some white. And again, it's just sugar paste, fondant, covering paste, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so these ones I'm going to paint. And this was one of those things I'd had the idea in my head and then it actually worked how I wanted it to, which is always nice. So again, I'm being quite liberal with the corn flour just so they don't get stuck. Turn that over and then pop. Nice big brush, food colouring and Rejuvenator Spirit. So, right, so I've got some Rejuvenator in there. Rejuvenator being high percentage alcohol because it's going to dry really quickly. And I've just taken a little bit of food colouring on my brush there that I'm going to mix into my Rejuvenator. So this is always a tad hit and miss because of what colours you do, like how strong the colour comes out. We've just got a nice big brush and we just want to start these nice long brush strokes like so. And actually I could do with watering this down some more. So rather than walking off and leaving Chris on his own again. Oh.
More than else, could you do that with dust too?
Yeah, totally. Totally. So this is just the lid of my petal base that I'm just going to use to put some more Rejuvenator in. So that I can, so I haven't picked up any more colour. I've literally just added more Rejuvenator to my brush because just like when you're doing watercolours, that should then give us a paler bit, which it has. So you want to get it fairly wet and then I'm just going to come and take a little dab of colour. So this is the raw colour out of the pot with onto my brush. And then look, do you see how you get these nice dark streaks in it? And that's because you're adding the dye to a wet surface. The brush is wet and you can see it takes and sort of swooshes the colour as you go. And this is very much, if any of you guys do, just what you would do if you were painting a background with watercolours. Because when you're doing this, it is all about the amount of liquid you've got, because it's the liquid that makes it paler.
Juices like the fans?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. But on fondant. I told you, it's just like, it's a flicking paint and painting at the minute is apparently the things that are inspiring me. But yeah, how cool is that? And I reckon, right, that you can make beautiful looking seasidey things with this. That'd be really cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna, we just need to wait a minute. So I'm just going to make sure that's not stuck, which it isn't. And then look, it's exactly the same thing that you're going to go around and you want to look for the interesting bits. So for example, that one there, we've got a nice dark bit and a nice light bit. If we cut one right down here, then again, dark bit and light bit, and we could go right in the middle.
Karen asked, could you make these in advance and store them?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, even if, because they're just fondant, even if they dried out completely, they're not going to be, they won't be like flour paste solid, you know? Put it this way, it wouldn't be any worse than the icing you eat on the top of a cake from the supermarket in terms of hardened fondant, if you know what I mean. You can always do it and then pop them into Tupperware. Would keep them not moist, but un-rock hard. Let's put it that way. So, yes, what I probably should have done with this actually is had a longer piece so that my gradient happened over a slightly shorter space so that I got more colour variation from the bottom to the top of the cutter. But, you know, we live and learn. And then, right, okay, so this is the unplanned part of what happened earlier. So I'm going to smush this right, like so, and then roll that out again, and look, you get this whole other pattern, which again, if we check the back and the front, look how cool that looks. And it's just where you've had the colour was purely on the surface, so as you squash it and break it, you get bits of white appearing elsewhere. So yes, a couple of different patterns to be had here as well, from smushing up that bit. Which is why these went from, oh, I'm going to make some marbled cupcakes, and then turned themselves into 101 other different things as well. So yes. Right. Pop that one down there. And again, I'm just going to have a look on the front and the back. So where we've got these kind of hard bits, I think that looks like, is it malachite rock? You know, it's a compressed rock as opposed to a thing, whereas on this other side it looks more sort of marbly again. So I'll tell you what, if I take this bit, then we've got one of each. So I'll shove that back in there, and then last but not least, I'll roll out and cut just a couple of plain navy ones. Right, so I'm just going to cornflour the back again, make sure that's moving, and I'll just cut just a couple there so that we have the colours to play with. So I used earlier on our antique gold colour, but you could use a different one if you wish, and I think that I will go for the, do you know what, I might do these ones with the bright gold, why not? Change it up a little bit. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of, that was actually, I tell you what, I'm going to reclaim some of that. There we go, a little bit of Rejuvenator Spirit. And I'll pick up some of my dust there and just get that mixed into a nice, like, I don't know how I can, it's one of those things, it's a nice consistency, you know, it's nice and smooth. It's not watery, but it's not lumpy either. And then I've got a nice fine little brush. And let's pick this one to start with. So a fine brush, just a little bit of paint on it. And you just want to find some of the lines that have sort of naturally cropped up from your marbling, and we're just going to come down and highlight them. And this bit here, we can take him off a little bit of a tangent as well. And the trick is, you don't want to add it to every single line, because then it all, if there's too much of it, it loses its impact. You just want a little bit. And you can have some bits that will kind of fade out as well. Basically make it up as you go along. I don't know where to, but Chris has just wandered off. But yeah, something like this. And then the other thing that could be quite nice is if you take, so I'm just going to pop couple of drops of Rejuvenator there just to make a really watered down gold. So again, just a little bit on the brush, and we can bring that watered down colour and just go over a slightly bigger area. And you see, because it's watered down, it's not so much colouring it in gold as it is giving it that sort of flecky sheen. Something like that. And then maybe, I don't know, a little bit more up here. Like I said, it's really easy to get carried away with these. Yes, that is how you get those lovely gold streaks into it. So that one looks really nice. I might go. So this style of one, again, we can do Let's see. Actually, do you know what I might do with this one? Is rather than doing the big streaks, I might just go for my watered down gold and do that in little chunks. So say this bit here.
I think yes. Yes to the tappets.
Yes to the tappets. See that? So for this one, I'm not so much tracing out the lines as just giving some of these paler areas that kind of goldy wash. Like, is it mica? Is that the right word? Oh, I don't know. I'm no geologist, but you know, pretty stones, eh?
Pretty stones.
And in fact, for all that I was like, oh, I'm not going to follow the lines, I might just go for a little bit of an outline just there. Maybe a little bit. I mean, this is the beauty of it. You can make it up as you go along. And the thing is, because they're only cupcake toppers, it's not too much of a big investment to make a few spare ones, so that if you end up colouring one how you don't like, or you want to run a couple of tests or something, like, you totally can. You just get some of that watery one again. And I know I'm slowly painting the back of my hand gold, but it's just so that I pick the paint up and then I sort of dab it off so that I'm using how much I want, you know, not letting it get too much. So that's that one. Okay, and now I think it's flicky paint time. Yay! Right, let me move this out of the way. In fact, let me move lots of things out of the way, because I covered like everything earlier on in flicky paint. This was one from earlier. I really like this one just because of the pattern on it. So do you see what, like, sometimes you just get lucky with the colours that you get and stuff, and that's one of those ones. So we can have him there, and maybe, yeah, let's have that one. Right, flicky paint. So first things first, you want it quite watery. So not watery to the point that you can't like see the colour, because remember, your metallics, the dust doesn't so much dissolve into the paint as it does kind of sit in solution. So you want it thick enough that it's not really thin. Sorry, I'm running out of words here. But then equally thin enough that if you kind of take it on your paintbrush, stick your finger out and then just tap the paintbrush, you can flick it everywhere.
You try and a bit of paper or something to see if you're getting the consistency right.
You totally could. And then you can sort of, like, if you really want to make a mess, you can properly like flick it like so, which will give you
Gingerly.
me.
Yes.
Well, it's because I was going to say I don't want to get into trouble. I mean, you're the only person that's likely to tell me off. There isn't anyone else here. True. Would anyone like to guess where my table's from? So like on this one, I'm just kind of building up the flecks on the one side more than on the other. You could totally like put some gloves on as well. Or cut the fingers off some gloves and just wear a finger, like a little tiny condom for your finger. That works too. Whereas I prefer to just make...
Have you mixed that? Did you mix that with water or alcohol?
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
So I'm using Rejuvenator. So Rejuvenator Spirit is a very high percentage alcohol. So I think ethanol's 98%, which means that it evaporates like that, which is why you can sort of paint and flick and do whatever. If you've not got that, then go for some vodka or some gin. And if you'd rather use water, then you can. It's just going to take a lot longer to dry. It's the only thing. And yes, a point for everybody. The table is from IKEA. Who would have thunk it? So yes, that is crispy if we can swap back. Sorry, I'm making you earn your keep tonight. So this one I cut out and stuck some little stars on. So I've got a variety of star cutters. I think they're all PME ones. They're ones that I've had for donkey's years. So I just cut a bunch out in, it doesn't really matter what flower paste or modelling paste you use, and just stick them on, and then painted them. So that I introduced a little bit of silver as well. So the silver on there, which is this one in the pot, is the antique silver. So it's a really nice kind of gunmetal silvery colour. And you can see I flicked it in both gold and silver. So that was that one. And then the other ones, I will do a quick couple of little blossomy bits to show you. We're just going to make some little blossomy doodads. Which, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll do them in white. So, rolled it out, relatively thin, not so thin it's going to collapse on us when we use the mould, but not so thick that it's chunky either. Cornflour on the back, and then I will use, for now, the petunia mould and the, it has to be here somewhere, there it is, so the small petunia cutter. So I always pop a little bit of cornflour on the mould. I'm going to pop the flower on there and then just use my brush just to poke it in. And it's just that the top of this mould is quite pointy, so I don't want to break it as I go. So press it down and then you get, it will come out very quickly, you get this perfect little flower. So it comes, that set comes with various different shapes and sizes, and here are some navy blue ones and some bigger white ones that I made earlier that we can use just now. So this one I think will look quite nice with maybe a white one in the corner, but it needs some gold on it as well. So
Helen says that she sometimes finds she gets a hole in the middle of the flowers.
So that is what, the bit where I put the shape on and then use my brush to dab it down, that will stop that from happening. It's just because if you look at this side on, it's got quite a point on it, and then this side goes quite deep. So if you just dab your paste down when you put it in, it just sinks it into that mould a bit, so that when you press it, it doesn't tear the paste, basically.
So the paste isn't getting stuck to the mould, therefore just tearing it, a bit of movement in it.
Yep. So I've got my gold paint back, and I'm just going to do a little bit of gold in the centre. You could of course use a little gold ball, I don't have any handy. And then I'm just going to just put a little bit on the edges, and can you see? Just gentle little brush strokes. Bristles are pretty much perpendicular to the side of my flower, so it's just catching the edges there. Oh, drop the flower.
Don't break it.
No, these are pretty sturdy. Something like that. And what I did before, let me roll one out and I'll show you because I forgot to say this. So on some of these you will notice, like this one, there's these little golden leaves. So all that is, just roll this out. So I've got some flower paste again, but for these you could use a modelling paste or fondant with some CMC or Tylo in it or something. I'm going to take the big petunia cutter, cut one of these out. Like so. Right, and this is going to be a pain in the bum to see because it's white on white, but I'll show you once I've done it. I think we did this for the Christmas wreaths, but I'm just using my cutting wheel to cut the petals up on this, like so, because that is going to make us, if pick these up now. Some little leafy shapes like so. And of course 5 petals on there, so that's 5 little leafy shapes. This one I would tidy up a bit, to be honest. But if we pop them on there and just grab a Dresden. Right, all I'm going to do with these is just bring my Dresden just straight down the middle. Look. So I'm using the curved bit of the spine there, not right on the tip. So I'm holding it at this angle, not like that. And we're just coming straight down the middle. And can you see that it's just giving it that simple little central vein, as well as a little bit of shape. And then we can let those dry a little while. And I have somewhere, right, so these ones were navy blue, but I've painted them gold, so same difference. Is there another one? There it is. There we go. Right, so I just got some, oh God, ancient royal icing in the most shonky parchment piping bag. So all I'm going to do is just a splodge of royal icing, stick that on there, and then I will do a little bit of royal icing on the back of the first leaf and shove that underneath, about there I reckon. And I'll do a little bit more on the second one. Like so. And then that would be that for that one. So let me just grab him there. And you can see, so like some of the other ones I've got, same leaves, but it's just the smaller cutters that I've used on that one. This one here, again the same leaves, but it was a big navy blue flower. And then this one here, oh shite. Do you know what? I said that and then I wanted to say it again in reference to the fact that I just said it. And then this one I've just got a little hydrangea and one of the other little ones on there as well. Let's put these down. This one is still a little bit soggy, so you can just have a play with the colours and stuff. And like I said, the plan had been to put wasp names on all of them, but they were just so pretty on their own. But I kind of decided not to. And the thing with the little flowers is that having just that little spot of gold in the centre just lifts the whole thing and brings it to life so that it sort of matches everything else. So look, you just have kind of those two sitting there. And if you find when your flower paste is dried, it's kind of eased off the colour a bit, then you can just chuck some navy petal dust on them as well. And then the last thing that I'm going to do here, just because we keep saying cosmic, and there's one just there that really does look that way. This one, I don't know, there's something about that one that looks particularly cosmic-y.
Yeah, I suppose you need sort of a silvery splatter on there as well.
Well, I wonder. I wonder if, right, alright, let's try something new. Why not? I love making it up as we go along while we're actually live with folk. What do I want? I want a piece of paper. Oh, I might have leant too far. Don't fall off the chair. Oh. Do you know what? I don't want to do this one because I really like this one too, Nikki. So I might put that over there and try it with... Okay, let's have that one. I don't like... That one's okay. Right, so... Let's do a painty splatter, sort of in general. And then what I'm wondering is, if I sort of just tear a shape and then tear another shape. Yeah, something like that. hang on, I need to re-wet the paint slightly. Need more paint. There we go. So I wonder if this will work to have produced. Oh, it kind of does. Okay, I'm going to develop that as an idea for actual galaxy ones. But yes, you could probably put your splatters in a specific place so that you actually made it look like a, you know, like the Milky Way or something. And if we're going galaxy-ish with this one, I'm just going to mix up that antique silver, because like I said, it's really nice, kind of gunmetal-y colour. And just flick a little bit of this on as well. Actually, right, this one there is bright silver. I'm just going to mix the two together. I don't know where the pot of thing is, because I'd put a little bit too much rejuvenator in and it was too wet. If you do that, by the way, with rejuvenator, you don't have to add more dust. You can just wait for it to evaporate, basically. Will work just as well. And then I have got some glue. Oh, let's see, it looks nice if you flick paint on the flowers as well. Not entirely intentional, but there we are. Right. So I'm just going to pop on a couple of little stars. And I'm just going to paint them once they're on there because it will be easier, I think. Yeah, so asteroid belt-ish was what I was going for. But I reckon that it would be really fun to revisit these techniques, but with specifically galaxy-ish kind of colours. So I reckon that I will have a play with different ways to control where we're flicking all the paint. Because I've said this before, actually, on the lives. Of course, you can mix the metallic colours with matte colours. So I could make, in fact, a shiny purple and a shiny pink or something that could work quite well as well. That one stuck to my finger rather than the thing. There it is. Where has the tiny brush gone? There it is. So let's start off with just a couple gold, I think, and I might add a couple of silvery ones as well. In just a moment. I can't paint and talk. Who knew? So that would be the... I can dust and talk, but apparently not paint and... Here we are. Such a nice colour, the antique silver. Proper, like, metallic gunmetal. This one. There you go. And you can see, because they're obviously they're proud of the main thing, they're easy enough to paint flat, you know. So yeah, he's kind of cool, like that. This one is definitely still my favourite. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. We'd originally called it the January Blues because of the colours, and hopefully it will help beat those January blues of the now, and you enjoyed learning all those skills and techniques with me.